Hi, so yes, I was in the airport. As soon as I saw that guy, I was just like, I have to do something. I'm not gonna just continue this whole thing. I'm not gonna just continue this whole thing where I go to my next destination and once again I already know I've been followed. Because again, at this time I'm thinking they don't have any other way to know my exact location but to be following me on foot. Why else would they be following me right now? I've already left my car in Texas, which would have been, in my eyes, the one other way they had to track me if they had a tracking device on my vehicle. But at that point, again, I already was pretty sure there was no tracking device on my vehicle by that time. However, I knew that they knew my vehicle. So I felt obviously that driving around in my vehicle made me a target, because I say made me a target, that kind of sounds like victim blaming, but you know what I mean. Like, my vehicle was being watched for. So for example, that's the reason that when I knew I lost my tail within the airport, that's why I didn't pull off because I knew that the likelihood that there was someone posted at every entrance and exit of the airport specifically to look out for my car was high, right? So I ditched that flight, and then at that point I was like, okay, I have to go to the police again. Also I forgot to mention, when I was in that bathroom, I called Salt Lake City police back, and I was like, hi, like, I called the other night because there was a suspicious vehicle, and I'm just following up. And I felt responsible to at least tell them what was going on, even though I had not when I initially called about the suspicious vehicle. I felt responsible to tell them what was going on because I did not want my mom to become a target as I was leaving the city. So I did tell them, the meat and bones of what had happened, and the fact that I had been followed and I had been raped and all this stuff and everything. And the dispatcher was super nice, and took my statement. And I also called the people that work at my mom's building and filled them in, and asked them to put up signs in the building. So I felt responsible, at least if my mom's not going to understand the urgency of this. I still felt that it was really me they were after, but I didn't want to take any chances because I had seen how determined and evil these people are, and I care about my mom like anyone would. So yeah, anyways, so at that point I went to the Salt Lake City police that was posted and told him, I told him basically, hey, like, a very short synopsis of what I had been victim to. And then I was like, yeah, like, this guy just tried to follow me onto my flight. I paid for another Frontier flight for the next day, another 24 hours later. And at that point I was really wondering how they found me again. I didn't know if it had been the fact that I had told someone or what it had been. The fact that I had told someone at the airport what was going on. I didn't know if that meant that it had somehow made its way back, or if, now looking back now, I still think it could have been that. But I do know that at some point they started tracking my phone based on my phone number. More on that later, how all that came to be. So there's a chance that they started tracking my phone right then and there as soon as they lost me while I was in Salt Lake City. I still don't know for sure how they found me at that airport. I went to the police. He was He was cool. I have that officer's name. He believed me. I went to the bathroom and I came back to talk to him again. And someone had said something to him. I don't know where it came from. But at some point with me going to the bathroom, and I think I went out to smoke a cigarette and come back to talk to him again. At some point, someone had said something to him to discredit me. Again, this is how you know it's not about me, right? It's not about anything personally related to me. I was just trying to build my business and build a home for myself, and then all this happened. It tells you that it's about what happens to rape victims and how legitimate authorities get turned against legitimate and good-hearted people in positions of authority, unfortunately get turned against victims. When I came back, he said, I think you're just hyper aware of your surroundings right now, and I don't think they would have followed you across the country like this. And I was like, I stood up for myself. I was like, yes, sir, they would have, and they have. This is organized crime, you know? But, you know, at that point, what am I going to do? Sit there and argue with the officer? I asked him, I said, do we have an FBI agent at the airport that I can talk to? He said no. And then I was like, I asked if I could speak to another authority that I saw had a presence at the airport, and he said no. So at that point, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna... Oh yeah, and then I was like, is there any way, if I get an Uber to another airport, could y'all, just give me a police escort? Because I don't really feel safe to even leave. Now that I know I've been followed again, I don't even feel safe to leave the airport at this point. He's like, we're not your personal bodyguards. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to sit there and argue with him, obviously. So that's unfortunate, because I know that he did believe me. But it's a matter of the character assassination that happens. Somehow, some character assassination had happened. If we don't want to use that term, let's just say discrediting, or let's say gaslighting. No matter what the intentions behind it were, the result is the same, which is that the victim doesn't have support once again. So at that point, I'm at the Salt Lake City airport. I'm like, okay, they know I'm here. I don't know if this is the right term to use, but I feel naked at this point. You know, I don't have my car. I'm stuck at the airport. So I know that I have another flight 24 hours from now, but then I'm like, okay, but they already know I'm here. So that means that flight is just as good as followed, because they already know I'm here, clearly. So I went outside. I bought a pack of cigarettes. I was like, let me see how many people they have on me right now. Because that's just the reality. I don't like it any more than the next person. But I can't ignore the evidence right in front of me, right? I can't just say to myself, oh yeah, there was a suspicious guy that got right behind me and wasn't even in line until I was spotted. But let me just ignore it and go on about my life. No, I can't do that, because these people... That's what these people want you to do. These people are highly entitled psychopaths who are used to getting their way. They are raping with impunity. It's to the point, and this is the point I want to really drive home, and a huge part of why I have to share all this, not just for my own sake. Obviously, I have to share all this for my own sake. But it's also because I want women to understand. I already was at a point in my life that none of the psychological type of manipulation that pimps and other manipulators engage in was ever going to work on me. I was already at the point in my life where I knew that. I was not having intercourse, I was about my business. I wanted to build my business and have something for myself. I already thought I knew And like when you see me, I'm sorry to get off topic, but when you see me saying like, kind of trying to push back a little gently on the narrative about human trafficking and sex trafficking, that you're more likely to be trafficked by someone you know than to be kidnapped, etc. Okay, yes, that is true, that you're more likely, but the way things are getting out here, because of the amount of money involved and the amount of people involved and the amount of strategically placed people involved in this organized crime stuff, in this sex trafficking stuff, means that you don't have to, you can be like me and like know all that kind of stuff, and do everything for yourself to keep yourself safe, and, you know, cling to what you have to be independent, and this can still happen to you, because it's not even about manipulating women. They try that, obviously, because it's less effort on their part, but they are straight up raping and stalking people. Raping and stalking women. That's the point it's getting to. And they feel confident to do it because they feel that they can contain the victims, even when the victims do everything they're supposed to do, like I've done, and report it all. So, anyways, went outside to see, okay, how many people do they have on me? Like, if I were to try to leave now, would I be in danger to leave the airport? Went outside, you know, right by the entrance of the airport, started smoking my cigarettes, just hanging out and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. But mainly to observe my surroundings. You know, try to see, is there anyone coming up behind me? Is there anyone, you know, this is stalking. This happens. Organized stalking does happen. Don't let people make you think that it doesn't, because it does. And there's people doing the bidding of these people without even knowing it, just by thinking it sounds too far-fetched. You're doing the bidding of these people without even knowing it. You're defending them and allowing them to continue. You don't know it, and that's not the intention when a lot of people say, oh no, there's no way that this many people would follow you. Yes, there is, unfortunately. I never thought it would be possible either, but it's happened to me. Maybe it's not that I never thought it'd be possible, but I never thought that it would be something they do to people who have nothing to do with them, to be frank, like is the case with me. So, went outside, smoked my cigarette. I noticed a guy white guy with like tattoos. Once I had gone out there a couple times, like the third time I went out there, he was out there too. And then he stayed out there for like, it must have been either an hour or two, and he was smoking cigarettes, but he was posted right where I was posted. There was nobody else that was out there that long. And he was consistently there. I did notice him point his camera at me, but you know, it's the kind of thing where a lot of people walk around like this, like I'm doing right now with their phone in front of their face kind of thing, to where it's less obvious. So it could have been nothing still, right? So finally I smoked my last cigarette and I decided to walk in, and I decided to sit there to where TSA, like I had been going out and coming back and going back out again. And this time I decided, okay, I'm just going to sit outside of TSA and just sit here and see what's going on. So I sat there. Sure enough, after I hadn't gone back out there for probably another 35 to 40 minutes, this white guy comes in and goes through TSA. At this point, unfortunately, I can't take the chance that he's not been sent for me, right? So I have to know, again, I have to know for myself who's following me. even if no authorities are going to believe me or whatever. And I don't want to say no authorities, but you know what I mean. Even if no authority is going to be able to enforce anti-stalking stuff, you know, these people are professional criminals. They know how to do this stuff and not make it obvious. And I'll add, especially now that they know that I'm able to suss it out. Like, especially now that they know, okay, she figured it out. Like, they definitely knew that I figured out that those 3 guys in the burgundy sweatshirts were following me. So especially now that they knew that I was going to be able to suss them out, now they're taking even more precautions to not be obvious. That guy went straight through TSA. I don't know if he had some sort of special clearance or what. I don't know. But I know that he went through a different line. And he didn't even have to wait in line. I noticed that. So, he was in plain clothes, you know. And so after that, I'm like, okay, that guy, I'm like, I'm going to watch out for him.